Well, hello everybody. You know who I am, but just in case, Andy Greenberg, and this is
Carol Greenberg.
now. Stay tuned for right now. We have a very important message for you, so please focus on the screen. This is important. Carol? Yep, the end is near. Carol, what are you doing? What are you in a park or something? What are you on a soapbox? The end is near. Well, why are you holding that sign?
It's a time.
No, but I mean, is the end really near?
I heard. I don't know.
The end is near. The end of the world is near. No, I don't want to be depressing. No, I don't want to be a prophet. No, I don't want to do anything of that. But I do want to discuss that the end is near and what you should do about it. But don't worry, I'm not going to try and sell you any kind of life insurance or tell you to do something that you normally wouldn't do. Or will I? Because at the end of this presentation, will you be convinced that the end is near? Are you part of the problem? Can you be part of the solution? Carol, what do you think?
I am intrigued. I can't wait to move on.
Now, we've had discussions, you and I, about the end of the world many times. So we're going to do this right now, go over some of the predictions, which ones went wrong. Obviously, they all did. Where they came from, and what's causing all the commotion. But then, I don't want to ruin it for you, but there is a prediction from a very credible source that the world will end in 2021. Oh, wait a minute. That's right now.
Right now.
Right now. So,
Right now.
right now. So I know you might be scared, but I owe this to you. But then again, there's some other information. So, like, hang in there and let's get ready. Oh, here we go. So, the end of the world has been predicted since the beginning of the world.
That's true. Many times.
Do you ever think about that?
Yeah.
Yep. Excuse me. And the end of the world was also known to Jacob. You remember Jacob, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob?
Yes.
And the story goes that God told Jacob what the end of the world will be. And Jacob was about to tell his children what it was going to be about, but then God stopped him. So, if we believe in the Torah says there will be the end of the world. But we are not the only religion that says that. As a matter of fact, we're going to discuss some terms that we've used before, and I don't think everybody knows what these terms mean, but they all are associated with the end of the world. So here we go. The rapture, not necessarily in order. So, what is the rapture? Do you have any idea what the rapture is?
No, but I've always heard that when the end is near, the righteous people will sit on a cloud and be lifted up, and the people that were not righteous will just go somewhere else.
You know what? Based on the way the world is going, when the rapture happens, there won't be a lot of people sitting up there in that cloud. I'll tell you that right now. There will be some, but not a whole bunch. So anyway, I don't want to talk doom and gloom. Sounds like I do.
Have 6 feet of social distancing on the cloud.
Oh, that was good. That was good. All right, so and some of this I've got to refer to notes. I have to be honest with you, okay, because I want to be righteous, but in the Jewish way. So here we go. So what I want to talk about is the rapture, which says consisting of it's a Christian philosophy, consisting of an end of time event when all Christian believers who are alive, along with the resurrected believers, will rise in the clouds. Very good. Will rise in the clouds to meet the Lord in the air. All right, that's the rapture. So if you want to be part of that, of course, we're Jewish. We'll talk about that. Then for the non-Jews, you might meet many of the Christians who are righteous, and that's what they believe in. All right.
And
now,
the people that were no longer here either,
right,
is going to be pushed up and done whatever.
You mean the non-righteous?
No, I mean you said the people that were gone.
Yeah, the resurrected. I said that. Okay, here we go. Then there's something else called the Great Tribulation. Have you ever heard of that one before?
Vaguely, but why don't you tell us what it is?
So the Great Tribulation also is a sign that would occur in the time of the end, and it is mentioned by Jesus in the Olivet Disclosure, and it says here again that the tribulation is a great one used to indicate the period spoken by Jesus and used in the context of denoting afflictions of those hard pressed by siege and calamities of war. Well, wait a minute. Uh-oh. What does the word siege mean?
Happenings.
Okay, well, siege also means that you are secluded in an area and you can't get out. So, for example, there are cities that are under siege, which means you can't get out. Wait a minute. I hate to say this. The end
We
is
can't
near.
get out
We
now.
can't get out
We
now.
can't get out. We're not on total lockdown, but we're quarantined, so we really don't have any freedom to get out.
Uh-oh, I don't want to make matters any worse, but you know what? This might be the Great Tribulation, and I'm going to make some connections a little bit later. Carol, are you feeling secure in your future yet?
Not yet. That's why I have to sign.
The end is
That's
near.
why I have to sign.
All right, let's go to another one. And sometimes I don't pronounce this correctly, so please help me. The apocalypse. I do that right?
Apocalypse.
Yeah.
Apocalypse.
Yeah, that's right.
The apocalypse.
The apocalypse. Thank you. I try to hesitate not using that word too often. So what does that mean? It's, first of all, ancient Greek, and it literally means an uncovering. It's a disclosure of the revelation of great knowledge in religious and occult concepts. An apocalypse, whatever it is, it usually discloses something very important that was hidden. So in this particular time, we believe, or they believe that we believe that the world will come to an end as a result of
The apocalypse.
the four horsemen.
Oh, my favorite. The four horsemen.
The four horsemen. Now, I'm going to surprise you about the four horsemen, so pay attention here. So, what are the four horsemen? Number one, from left to right. And you're on a screen, so I'm not quite sure. This is my left hand. Sometimes it shows up as my right. I'm not quite sure how the camera reverses it. Here we go. They are death, famine, war, and conquest. Death, famine, war, and conquest. Okay, death. COVID-19. Famine. You know what? How many people in this world are starving? As a matter of fact, we might have mentioned this a long time ago, there are more people passing away from starvation in the world than there are from COVID-19. Over 20 million people, if not more, are dying every 3 months from this famine, which is ongoing. And what are we doing about it? Absolutely nothing. All right, you will say that the world is not at war right now. Okay, you know what? I'm going to agree with that. That's not, we're not there yet. And of course, conquest. I'm not quite sure what that conquest stands for. So these are the issues that we are going to be talking about. The four horsemen. When you see them, yeah, you too should be running around with a sign, the end is near. Okay? And I doubt very much if anybody's going to sell you life insurance at that particular time. Who knows? Maybe they don't believe. Depends how good of a salesperson you are. All right, what about Judaism? What does Judaism believe about the end of the world?
I'm not sure. Well, obviously there is an end if God told Jacob, but Jacob couldn't reveal it to us, and we don't know what the date is.
Yep, and it's directly connected to the Messiah. Doesn't mean the Messiah is going to bring the end. However, there will be a period of time where there will be lots of tourists, and then a 1,000-year period after that, and then the earth is gone. And there's lots of numerology that suggests that. And let me even go one step further with you. There is hidden in the Bible code. The Bible code. By the way, I think you're familiar with the Bible code. What is it? People have taken the Bible code, deciphered it, used computer programs, and turned out to be truthful. Truthful. It is a prediction of the future that shows past events, how they occurred, when they occurred, with unbelievable accuracy. Hidden messages, decoded. And they claim that they have found that according to Judaism, the world will end in 2021. I don't mean to scare you, but there are other predictions that I'll get to later which might counterbalance that. Now, the question is, do you believe in the Torah predictions or not? So way back when in the olden ages, way back when, there were periods of time where they thought the world would end. And during the Stone Age, they thought the world would end in many other time periods. And what did they blame it on? Not necessarily in order. Number one, the sea people, creatures that came from the sea. All right, I don't see that happening much in our time today. But ready for this?
The Loch Ness Monster?
Yeah, but then it hasn't been found to destroy anything. So, but that's a good point. Number two, all three. Watch this: famine, which we talked about, climate change, and drought. That's what they believe is one cause. Earthquakes, volcanoes, tsunamis.
They've had them all.
And they occur year after year after year. I hate to bring this up. Plagues. What are we right in the middle of?
A plague.
A plague. Intermittent warfare. Yep. And systems collapse. Ooh, let's pay attention to that.
You mean like when the banks collapse?
Not only when the banks,
market collapse?
technology collapses.
Right.
So for that reason, way back when in Y2K, remember Y2K?
Yeah, all the computers are supposed to stop working at midnight.
Yep, and we thought we were all going to go back into the Stone Age. Remember that?
Right.
And we lost our technology. Well, since 2000, by the way, we're now in 2021, right? Yes. Technology makes that technology look obsolete. But how many times a week do we hear about system failures? The internet going down, the phone company going down, the electricity going down. It doesn't say who did it, man or not. But you know, one day, man is going to hack a system and won't be able to repair it. Hey, isn't this doom and gloom? Isn't this fun? And any or all of the above in combination. Here's the scary part. This is not recent. This was taken from historical thoughts from thousands of years ago, BCE. That's when some of these predictions began to come true, began to appear based on people's thoughts. So they also believe in Judaism, again, that the end of the world is coming. God, we know this stuff. God redeems the Jewish people from the captivity that began during the Babylonian exile and in a new Exodus, which means what? People will return to Israel. Well, guess what? You take out the Americans for a while, and people from other countries around the world, where are they going? Jews,
to Israel.
To Israel. From Africa, from France, from England, from Russia, from Germany. The population of Israel and Judaism continues to increase. Not quite yet with the Americans, but I have a hunch if things keep up the way they have been, that might be a reversal. How about that? God returns the Jewish people to the land of Israel. We just talked about that. God restores the house of David and the temple in Jerusalem. Now, be careful what you pray for. Why do I say that?
Yeah, why? Yes. Well, because they always say that. Be careful of what you wish for, because you might get it and it might not turn out to be the thing that you thought it was going to be.
Yeah, well, guess what? In our prayers every day, Mincha Mariv, Mincha Shacharit, let me scratch that. Mariv, Shacharit, Mincha, I want to do them in the order. Guess what we pray for? A building, some people say, of the new temple, a return to olden times. And yes, there are grassroots thought processes coming up that we should start building the temple again. Nothing's been done. But watch for that sign. And God creates people who come from the legacy and from the heritage of King David. We'll talk a little bit more about that. God resurrects the dead, who are the righteous. And then God creates a new heaven and a new earth. Carol, I think it's about time that you put that sign up again. Yeah, the end is near. We're getting there, ladies and gentlemen. All right, here we go. The Talmud, the Jewish Talmud. Do you think they cover any of this stuff? They do. Watch this. The Talmud extensively discusses the coming of the Messiah and what will happen. Maimonides, the influential Jewish philosopher, discussed the Messiah and what's going to happen when he gets here. And following the expulsion of the Jews from Spain back in 1492, many Spanish rabbis said that they believed in the year 1524 would be the beginning of the Messianic era and that the Messiah himself would appear. Now, as it turned out, they haven't yet. Or have they?
And they left?
And they left. So, no, I don't think they left. So, let's go back about some things that we might know about. Let's get out of the Jewish history and see what happens to see whether these predictions are true. One of the latest ones that occurred was, of course, the Mayan calendar. Remember that?
I remember that.
Back in 212?
Yes.
Yep, the world was coming to an end.
Right.
Okay.
Based on a calendar.
Yep. Is it possible? Watch this. Is it possible that, what year are we in today?
We're in, that they got the dates wrong. If we're in 2021, and if you transpose the numbers, it would be 2012.
Aha! Is it possible? I don't know. But if I get to talk to you January 1st, okay, we know it wasn't there. But they said that marks the end of the great cycle, and it started 5,125 years prior to that. Watch this. A 3,000-year-old clay tablet that foretold Noah's Arks has hidden messages. And those hidden messages were in the Bible, and they have no words and no punctuation, and they claim that the earth will end. There are some very famous people. Go ahead.
But it's an oxymoron, because we're talking about Noah's Ark. When the rainbow came out, God promised that the earth would never be destroyed again.
No, he didn't say that.
He said that he would never make it rain that hard again.
That's right. He would never destroy the earth by rain, but he never said he wouldn't destroy the earth. And by the way, remember again what we said earlier about Jacob hearing what is going to happen, but God prevented him from disclosing it. Now, I'm going to get off the doom and gloom for a moment, and I don't really think it's doom and gloom. You'll find out why in a few moments. But what does this do for you hearing this? So if you heard and you were a believer, would it change your life?
If I heard that the world was ending?
Yeah. Would it change your life? Would you do something totally different?
No, I just go on and do the best that I can.
Hmm.
I mean, I might try to squeeze in a trip here and there.
All right. Would you step out of your comfort zone and take more risks?
Perhaps.
Perhaps. Okay. Wow. So here's my question.
What are you waiting for?
What are you waiting for?
What are you waiting for an event? Do it now.
Do it now.
Do it now.
Yeah. You see, there are opportunities to really think about this stuff. All right, let's go back. There's a fellow by the name of Harold Camping that you probably didn't hear of. And Harold Camping said as many as 12 times, based on his interpretation of biblical numerology. Oh, wait a minute. Biblical? Bible? Torah? Ooh, how could I forget? Our Torah, Jewish Torah, is also used in what book? The New Testament and the Quran. So when we say the Bible, whoa, my gosh, it's the Jewish Bible. And this guy is not even connected to the Bible code. He was wrong, which is the good news. In 1992, he published a book saying 1994. And he claimed that the world would end May 21st, 2011. Uh-oh. Do you see a similarity here? I just noticed it. Do you see a similarity? May 12th, 21st?
Well, the numbers if you transpose them, it would be 12.
Ooh, is that by coincidence or by design, or am I just noticing things that are not there? I'm not reading that part. And a date that he calculated to be exactly, ready for this? Talk about the flood. 7,000 years after the biblical flood. Now, he was wrong. So he changed his time period. And he said October 21st, 2011. Aha, here we go. Then, of course, there was somebody called a leader, a Taiwanese leader, Hung Ming Chen. And he said the world would end on March 25th, 1988. Some people were so convinced that they actually did things to prepare for the end of the world.
What did they do?
I doesn't say. But they said that they did things. Good question. Aha. Halley's Comet. You familiar with Halley's Comet? Mm-hmm. Beware of Halley's Comet, because the comet may kill all Earth life. And an Oklahoma man who made that prediction that this would happen back in 1910, watch this. He did the following. A group in Oklahoma, listen to this, tried to sacrifice a virgin to ward off impending doom, and bottled air became a hot commodity. Talk about people doing things. The earth probably did pass through parts of the comet's tail, but with no apparent effect. So I guess my question is, it's a very good question. I don't know if we have any lawyers out there. When this, and I didn't look it up, when this particular person was brought up on charges for trying to kill a virgin because to prevent the world, etc., was he temporarily insane, temporary insanity, or should he be found guilty of murder? I don't know, but one thing for sure, he's not among the righteous, therefore he will not rise.
Has Hades coming ever come?
Yeah, it did come, but it's due back, by the way. I forget when, but it's due back. All right, here's some more. Listen to this. Religious leader, all religion, by the way, mostly except for Haley's comment. Religious leader William Miller thought that the world would end in 1843. And when it didn't, he changed his mind to 1844. And then he waited all day for that to happen. He did. I'm telling you. And dear Jesus did not come. And he writes, I lay prostrate for 2 days without any pain, sick with disappointment. In 1806, there was somebody called the Prophet Hen of Leeds in England. And he predicted, watch this. I want you to listen to this one. I don't make this stuff up. You know I do my research. In 1806, a domesticated hen, H-E-N, hen, an animal, H-E-N, in Leeds, England, appeared to lay eggs, inscribed with the message, Christ is coming. Great numbers of people reportedly visited the hen and began to despair the coming of the judgment day. It was soon discovered, however, that the eggs were not in fact prophetic messages, but the work of their owner, who had been writing on the eggs in corrosive ink and reinserting them into the poor hen's body.
So stupid.
What some people will do to get attention. But here's the
What
point.
happened to him when they discovered him?
I have no idea. I didn't look that stuff up yet. Okay. All right. Now, how many of us have ever heard of the number 666? What does that mean?
The devil.
The devil. Because the Bible calls 666 the number of the beast. Many Christians in the 17th century Europe feared the end of the world in what year?
Something 2066?
No, not yet. No, 1666. And now watch this. This is going to really amaze you. The Great London Fire, which lasted from September 2nd to September 5th, of what year do you think?
1666.
Yeah. Destroyed much of the city, including 87 churches and 13,000 houses. People began to believe that was in fact the beginning of the end. Couple more. Jonas Stoffler, a respected German mathematician and astrologer, predicted that a great flood would come to the world on February 25th, 1524. He went so far that guess what he started to build?
An ark.
That's right. He went so far, this one count, by the way, somebody else, went so far to build a 3-story ark. There was rain that day, just light rain. On the day of the predicted flood, no actual flood actually materialized. Now, watch this. Somebody did predict the end of the world and was right. Almost. And who was that? Here we go. Noah. Noah went ahead and predicted the end of the world as people know it.
He didn't predict it. He was told by God, go tell these people that the end of the world is coming. He didn't predict it. Well, he received the message that the world was going to end, and he tried to get people to change their ways, and they would not. So he took his family and, the rest of the story.
Right. Well, I'm not quite sure. He had a personality flaw. I'm not quite sure that he tried to get people to convert.
Right, but he didn't predict it. He was told.
He was told, but he also told other people when they said, why are you building an ark? By the way, how long did it take him to build the ark? People claim 600 years. So for 600
Boy,
years,
he was old.
and guess what kind of a sign he probably walked around with? The end is near. And do you think anybody paid attention to him? No. Guess who else predicted the end of the world for certain people? And it turned out to be true.
Give me a guess. I don't know.
It's a whale of a story.
Oh, Jonah and the whale.
Jonah the whale. He went to cities and said, uh-oh, you better watch yourself.
Right.
And what happened? Now, the world didn't end in its entirety, but it ended for that part of the country. Wait a minute. Who else? Abraham predicted the end of a city, Lot, right? And he tried to save the people, and he tried to find the 10 righteous people. Couldn't, and then, you know the story. Boom.
They didn't predict. They were told that these things were going to happen. Predict means you yourself discovered it. But being told to go out and give the message to other people to let them know this is happening. That's not predicting, that's being told.
That's predicting. I'm telling you, the end of the world is coming. That's a prediction. As false as it might be. So let's go on. Now, what the number 6,000 really comes into play. Remember I said earlier 6,000 years after the flood? Well, here's where a little bit of Judaism comes in to maybe relieve us from the 2021 doomsday forecast. You see, we are in the Hebrew calendar of 57, I forgot. But we're in 57 something or other. And I apologize, I should have looked it up. The fact of the matter is we're not in the year 6,000. So some people predict that 6,000 years after the beginning of the world, according to Judaism, the year 6,000, it's kaput. It's finito. Aha.
Oh, you mean because we're in 57 something?
Yeah.
So by the time you get to 6,000, it's another 300 years.
It's another 300 years. So that's a problem. So if you're a real estate investor, okay, maybe in 300 years, this thing certainly would not be there. But some people also say, 6,000 years after that. And the Talmud, watch this, which according to the Talmud marks the deadline for the Messiah to appear.
Oh, so if he doesn't come till then, what?
Then we're bypassed. In other words, if the Messiah doesn't come by the year 6,000, he'll never come.
Oh.
But you got to ask yourself, are things beginning to happen where people are returning to Israel and all the other things beginning to occur? Aha! The answer is yes. So, Carol, we have more to go, but you started out by holding up the sign. Now, give me, on behalf of the folks that are listening and watching, give me some of your impressions, because as you know, I never tell her in advance what we're going to be talking about other than make the sign. That's all she knew. So at this particular point, what are your feelings?
I think people make predictions based on what events are happening or events that they see happening because of circumstances. I think that people are get into a panic when things get blown out of proportion, or there's a semi-logical reason why this might happen, like Y2K. I mean, everyone had a computer at that time. We were told for some reason it won't be able to convert, everything will go kaput, and so that sort of makes sense. And at the same time, I remember getting cans of tuna fish and water, but I don't know what they had to do with the computer. Because, I know why. Because then you wouldn't get your money through the bank on the computer, and you had to make sure you had supplies. But it's just like your horoscope. You can read into anything, and you can believe what you want to believe.
So let me try and help you out.
Do
you believe in religion?
In religion? Yes.
Have you ever seen separate religions agree on one thing?
Not really.
Would you agree then that the religions, Christianity, Catholicism, Judaism, Islam, and some of the others all agree that there will be an end of the world?
I suppose so.
So does that lead to some credibility factor that might occur?
Maybe.
So.
Or it's just something they've heard over and over again.
So I'm glad you said that because it allows me to transition. We don't practice this into some neat stuff.
Okay.
So we talked about the 1500s and the 1600s and a little bit about Jacob and Noah and all the rest. So there were over 204 different predictions since the year 66 CE, which is the Common Era, and I covered some of the ones in the past. Oh, but since 66 CE, there are over 204 predictions about the end of the world. What does that do for the credibility of this whole concept? So, with that being said, watch this question, because I would ask you if we were together, if this goes like that, do you believe that the Messiah will come?
My religion tells me that I should believe in it. It's something I hear every year at the Passover story. The Messiah will come. It's an ingrained thing. So, do I believe he's going to come? No. Do I believe the story? Do I believe he's going to come? I don't know. Do I believe in the story? Yes.
All right, let's see. The first one documented, by the way, this is all religions and all people. Don't worry, I'm not going to do all 204, okay? So I picked out just what I think would be the ones we would appreciate the most. So we have 66 BCE, CE, and a fellow by the name of Simon Bar Giora was Jewish, you can tell from the name, and he said that the Jewish uprising against the Romans in 66-70 was the final end-time battle which would bring the arrival of the Messiah. By his authority, coins were minted declaring the redemption of Israel. That's the first one is Judaism. In 375 CE, Martin of Tours, he was a French bishop, and he stated the world would end before 400 AD, or CE, whatever you want to call it. There is no doubt that the Antichrist, I'm going to talk about the Antichrist in a moment, that the Antichrist has already been born, firmly established already in his early years. He will, after reaching maturity, achieve supreme power. So what is the Antichrist? For those that are familiar, didn't he have a mark on his head, or supposedly?
Yeah, he had the mark of the devil.
Yep. And I mean no disrespect to anybody. However, watch this. I don't think anybody's ever made this connection before. One, yeah, but the other one, no. So there was a Russian leader who had the mark on his head.
Is that Khrushchev?
Gorbachev.
Gorbachev.
Gorbachev had the mark on his head, right?
Right.
And now you have to ask yourself this question, and this one I just thought of. I could be way out of left field, but the Antichrist would have a mark on his head. Okay, I got it. Who in biblical history has a mark on his head? Jewish. Well, yeah, it wasn't Jewish, but in the Torah. Who in the Torah has a mark on his head?
I got
Okay, ready for this? And I always forget, who killed who? Did Abel kill Cain, or Cain kill Abel? Whichever one survived. I always forget now. I apologize. I should know. He, in the Torah, he has a mark on his head.
Was that the one that was evil?
Yeah, the one that killed the brother. He was banished and was given a mark on his head.
Given or he had? He was
given.
He was given a mark on his head.
Yes, forever be branded. Ha! Is there a relationship between that and the Antichrist? I'll leave that to your imagination, as I just made it up. All right. In the year 500, there were 3 predictions that Jesus would return in this year, with the predictions being based, ready for this, on the dimensions of, what do you think? I'll give you 3 choices. The Holy Temple, Noah's Ark, or the 10 Commandments.
The dimensions of Noah's Ark?
Correct. Based on the dimensions.
But Noah's Ark dimensions were
big, was huge. It's in the Torah. It's in the Torah,
yes,
what the dimensions
60
were.
cubic feet, something
All right,
like that.
Here we go. AD 847. I want to go back a little bit in history just to show you this stuff. 847, the Christians declared in 847 that the world would end, though later confessed that the prediction, it was a fellow by the name of Theota, was fraudulent. He agreed it was fraudulent. And what do you think happened to him?
Beheaded.
He was flogged in public. So please, Carol, do not walk around with that sign unless you are 100% certain. All right, let's see how high up the chain this stuff goes. How many of us know, well, we all know, that there's the highest ranking Catholic is a pope. Did a pope ever have a position about the end of the world that they were willing to talk about?
I'm not familiar. I don't
Yep,
know.
I wasn't either until I did the research. A fellow by the name of Pope Sylvester II in the year 1000. And he said, according to several sources, various Christian poets predicted this date, the millennium, including the Pope. As a result, riots are said to have occurred in Europe and pilgrims headed east to Jerusalem. Other historians, however, have disputed that any of this took place. But let's remember this. If the Messiah comes, or when, depending upon your point of view, where is the Messiah first going to appear, according to biblical predictions?
Israel?
Yeah, what part of Israel?
Jerusalem?
And what mountain?
The Mount Zion or Mount whatever?
Mount of Olives.
Mount of Olives.
Yeah, ha, that's why they went there. All right. And then 284 years later, Pope Innocent III, crazy name, Pope Innocent III predicted that the world would end at what year? 666. Pardon me, 666 years after the rise of Islam. There were people in 1346 who predicted that the Black Death across Europe was interpreted that the world would end. In 1533, this is going to be somewhat ironic, a fellow by the name of Michael Stifel. Now, why is that somewhat ironic?
I don't know, because of a finance company.
Yeah, exactly right. The fifth largest investment broker or broking house where financial advisors work happens to be a place called Stifel. And of course, they invest in the future. Now, I can't make too much fun of that. Why can't I make too much fun of that?
Tell him why.
No, tell him.
Because our son works for Stifel.
Yeah, as senior vice president of a place. Anyway, yeah. So October 19th, 1533, Michael Stifel, yep, the mathematician calculated that Judgment Day would begin at 8 a.m. Look at all these things, and I'm skipping so many of them. But let's get back to religion. In 1600, you ever hear of a fellow by the name of Martin Luther?
Yes,
And-
Martin Luther King.
No, not him. Just
Martin Luther? No, not necessarily.
Okay, you guys ever hear of a guy by the name of Martin Luther? Okay, here we go. Luther, a German priest and professor of theology, known for starting another religion. The Protestant.
The
The Protestants.
Protestants.
Yeah,
with the Luther.
Lutherans are the good guess.
I think so.
Yeah. Predicted the end of the world would occur no later than 1600. What a great way to start a religion. And say, hey guys, let's start a religion because at the end of the year we ain't going to be here anyway. Well, he was wrong. Why? Because the world is still here. Now, let's get to a Jewish prediction. You're all familiar with this name. Back in 1648, Sabbatai Tzvi. You might not be familiar with him. Sabbatai Tzvi. He was a self-described Messiah. He ran around and told everybody, I'm the Messiah. Guess what? People believed him.
Really?
Yeah.
It must have been convincing.
Oh, yeah. Using the Kabbalah, he predicted that the Messiah would come during that year. He was the Messiah, and he claimed to be so in 1666 and 1677. The problem is they found out that he wasn't. Now, here's where it gets worse. He was so upset that he was discovered that he converted. What religion do you think he converted to?
Catholic.
Muslim.
Muslim.
Yes,
oh,
he
wow.
converted to the Muslim. Here's one that's going to surprise you if I haven't surprised you yet. Who discovered America?
Supposedly Christopher Columbus.
Do you have any other answers to that?
Supposedly Christopher Columbus.
He was involved in this stuff too. Believe it or not. 1656. In his book, I didn't know this. In his book of prophecy. Huh?
Go ahead.
Yeah, but in 1656. In his book of prophecies, Columbus predicted that the world would come to an end in 1636.
But it's
I'm
not
sorry,
because.
but he wrote the book in 1501.
But it's not because they thought the world was flat.
Wait, but he proved it was not
But
flat.
it fall off.
No, yeah. It was that Marco Polo? I forget.
Oh, maybe Marco Polo.
Yeah, no, it was Columbus. I think that proved the world wasn't flat. There we go.
Okay.
You betcha. So how about that? Is this interesting for you?
Very.
No, seriously.
Seriously.
Yeah. How about you guys? Did you know all of this stuff? All right, I'm skipping a whole bunch and I'm moving forward. Aha! Let's go to the 1780s. As a matter of fact, May 19th, because somebody else decided to get involved in this whole Meshuggah, or not. And that was, you're going to laugh at this, the Connecticut General Assembly.
The Connecticut General Assembly.
Yeah, right here in these United States, in New England. That day, on May 19th, 1780, by the way, that's 6 years after the country was founded, right? Because we were founded in 1776. The dark sky, the sky turning dark during the day, was interpreted as a sign of the end of times. The primary cause of the event would have been because of a combination of forest fires, thick fog, and cloud cover, and they declared, true story, that the world was coming to an end on that day. What a way to start a country. Let's move forward to 1836. John Wesley. He was the founder of the Methodist Church. Whoa, listen, do you see a pattern? The founder of the Protestants, the world's going to end. The founder of Judaism, Jacob, one of the three, world is going to end. This fella here, John Wesley, the world is going to end.
So I wonder what they would do with their collection plate if the world was going to end.
Good question. So Wesley, the founder of the Methodist Church, foresaw the millennial beginning this year. He wrote in that Revelation 12:14, which is in the New Testament, referred to 1058 to 1836 as the year when Christ would come, and then the tribulation, the rapture, the apocalypse. I never pronounced that right.
Apocalypse.
Yeah, is not true. All right, 1901. Let's move a little bit more. The Catholic Apostolic Church. Here we go. This is 1901. 70 years earlier, this church, founded in 1831, claims that Jesus would return by the end of the last 12 founding members died. So they went ahead and found a religion. They said when the last member of the 12 that founded the religion dies, Jesus would come, the world would be over, and that was in 1901. And guess what? They were wrong. Now, you remember that guy, Moon Sung, whatever, way back when in California? Well, people believed him. But wait.
Isn't he the one that did all the weddings?
Yeah. I think so. Yep. All right. 1934. This gets even better. Listen to this. I forgot one expression, too. How bad. Walter Marx. Marx was an Australian MP, told the House of Representatives that Armageddon would occur in 1934 and culminate with the Royal Navy bringing Christ's chosen people to Israel. Can you imagine that? Can you imagine in the United States Congress somebody standing up and say, ladies and gentlemen, the world is coming to an end. Let's no longer pass laws because this is going to happen. What would happen to that individual? I know. What do you think would happen? No.
What?
You'd probably get elevated to a higher position and take over a chairmanship of a particular conference, which is the way things are going. All right. We left one thing out of what could possibly be the end of the world.
What?
We talked about religion, floods, and all that kind of stuff. Use your imagination. What else could cause the world to be completely destroyed?
Climate.
We talked about that.
Plagues.
Talked about that.
Conquest.
Talked about. Okay, I'm gonna key on that conquest. Okay, conquest is there. Who was the conquistador, whatever? Who did the conquesting?
When?
If the world was going to come to an end based on conquest, who would have done it? You know, we left this out.
Who?
Aliens.
Oh, yes, the big guy from the sky.
Aliens. UFOs. Oh, yeah. Yeah. So in August 20th, 1967, I think we were all around at that time, George Van Tassel, he said that August 20th, 1967, this day would mark the beginning of the third woe of the apocalypse. Still don't pronounce it right.
Apocalypse.
Yeah, right. During which the southeastern United States would be destroyed by a Soviet nuclear attack, according to this UFO prophet who claimed to have been channeled by an alien named Ashtar. So Ashtar the alien used the Soviets as a proxy to destroy Southeast area. Oh, wait a minute. Whoa. Something bothers me here. You know what bothers me?
What bothers
You know what's hidden in the southeast area of southeastern United States?
What?
Area 52.
Area 52, where all the aliens are hidden and taken apart.
All right. How many of us remember Jean Dixon? Remember Jean Dixon?
Was she a prophetess?
She was she was an astrologer. She predicted a planetary alignment on this day was to bring destruction to the world February 4th, 1962. And she was so believable that mass prayer meetings were held in India. So, if anybody wants to prove that prayer works, people heard from this astrologer that the world would end on February 4th. The Hindus went ahead and prayed. They prevented, and the world would not end.
There you go.
How is that logic? Is that good logic?
Yeah.
No? How can we forget Jim Jones? Remember Jim Jones?
Oh, yes.
Yeah, the founder of another religion. The founder of the People's Temple stated he had visions that a nuclear holocaust was to take place in 1967. Wait a minute. 1967. That is the same year that George Van Tassel made the same comment about Holocaust, nuclear Holocaust. Whoa. Could they have been connected or not? So before I continue with the next one that's going to surprise you, how do you feel about your future now?
I can't wait to hear what's going to happen.
No, I mean, how do you feel about your future on this earth?
Well, I think since all these predictions didn't come true, I think we'll just keep going on.
All right, so you want to tear up your sign?
Have what?
You want to tear up your sign? The end is not near? Or you want to keep it?
I'll save it for future days.
All right, here we go. Here's another famous guy that made predictions. Really famous guy. You won't believe this one. Pat Robertson. Remember Pat Robertson?
Yes.
Yeah. And he had a TV show called The 700 Club.
Right.
In 1976, on his TV show, The 700 Club, Robertson predicted that the end of the world would come in this year. 1976. He was wrong. By the way, Carol and I knew a writer for the 700 Club.
Lived across the
street from us. And we didn't even know it. All right, just a few more. 1990, 23rd, Elizabeth Clare Prophet declared that a nuclear war would start on April 23rd, 1990, and that, in fact, would ruin the world, and she ended up stockpiling a shelter with supplies and weapons. However, watch this. When the prediction did not come true, she was diagnosed with epilepsy and Alzheimer's disease. She made it up.
Wow.
Here's another one that's going to surprise you. I mean, some of these folks are going to surprise you. Here we go. The leader of a new religion.
Another new religion.
He's a reverend. Louis Farrakhan.
Oh, yeah.
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 The leader of the Nation of Islam.
Right.
Declared that the Gulf War would be the war of Armageddon, which is the final war. Aha. By the way, the Gulf War, who else called it the mother of all wars? Saddam Hussein. Maybe those two knew something. But wait, I can't forget one of the most famous prophets in the world. The one whose predictions came true is also Jewish, by the way, because he came from a Jewish background. Now, he didn't do this recently, but back in the old days, Nostradamus, in one of his quadrants, actually stated that the king of terror would come from the sky in 1999 for 7 months, which was interpreted as the prediction for doomsday. Oh, yes. Go ahead.
No, when did the World Trade Center thing happen?
Oh, that was 2001. Yeah, 2001. All right. Here we go, I think.
Yeah.
In 2001. All right. Then you had the amazing Criswell. Remember him? The amazing Criswell. He was a mentalist. He came out and he predicted the date of the world that would end August 18th, 1999. 1999 was a very busy year for the end of the world. Oh, wait a minute. What year comes after 1999?
2000.
The beginning of the new millennium. And people thought that they would not have it. So remember this? This guy's going to surprise you. Ready for this? There was a very famous guy who learned how to do different languages. And his name was Charles Berlitz. Remember him? Berlitz languages? All right, listen up. The linguist predicted the end of the world would occur in 1999. He did not know how the prediction would occur, but he felt it would happen with an asteroid impact or pole shift. Jerry Falwell predicted on January 1st of the year 2000, the world would be over. So all of this has come together. But now we're in the year 2001. And in terms of what we're talking about, and Pat Robertson missed it the first time, and he said again that it would happen. And here's another church guy. This is crazy stuff. Listen, if you want to found a religion, don't tell everybody the world is coming to an end. Come to my religion, I'll save you. And by the way, no. You laugh. I can make an argument that that's true. Can I not?
You can.
Someone can come up. Listen to this. This is really good logic, and you can't fight me on this one. So people come out and say, listen, the world is coming to an end. I'm forming a new religion. Join my religion, and the world will not come to an end. All right, so all these people who formed religions said the world is coming to an end. It didn't, which means their religion prevented the world from being destroyed. I'd like to see you argue around that one.
All right, move on.
Can you argue through that logic?
No, you can't.
And they have a history of doing that. Aha! Listen to this. See, you never really thought about all this stuff happening. So why do I bring that up? Here's another one. September 29th, 2011, a fellow by the name of Ronald Wieland. What is he famous for? He's a founder of the Church of God, preparing for the kingdom of God. He stated Jesus would return on that day. After his prophecy failed to come true, he changed the date to May 27th, 2012.
Ooh.
Mark your calendar. This is the second time, one in Judaism, and now this guy here that says May 27th, 2012.
No, it's the other one with the Mayan calendar, too.
Yeah, well, no, we played with the Mayan calendar. We played with that one. But remember, the Hebrew Torah, according to the Bible code, says 2012. Now, our marriage day is May 24th.
Correct.
All right. So 3 days after that. So here's my question. What are you doing May 28th? Do you have plans? Should you? What should we do to celebrate our anniversary on May 24th?
Have a good time.
Have a good time. Yeah. See, you didn't think that this particular discussion would be so revealing with such revelations. And now there's more. Here we go, back in 2021. That's where we are right here. All right, I fast forwarded. I skipped, by the way, Jean Dixon and some of the other famous.
No, you said Jean Dixon.
Okay, yeah. She claimed it would happen in 2020. All right, so it was so many names, so I missed one.
Right.
All right, so 2021, there's a fellow by the name of F. Keaton Bouchard. This American pastor bases his prediction on a prior suggestion that Jesus would return in 1988. And within one biblical generation, which is 40 years, and he argues that his prediction was correct, but the definition of biblical generation was incorrect, actually 70, 80. And therefore, without doing all the math, he says the rapture will occur in 2021. But let me help you out. I don't want you to be nervous. We referred to Jewish text, and I'm going to end with this one here because there are some people that say it'll be destroyed in 300,000 years from now. The Geological Society, 1 million years from now. Stephen Nelson, 100 million years from now. And some people, 600 years from now. But here's one to end the discussion. According to the Talmud, Orthodox Judaism, the world will come to an end in 2239.
2239.
2239. And I found that prediction also in one of the old books that we read, which I never wanted to tell you about in the Bible code. That's the year. According to the Talmud in mainstream Orthodox Judaism, the Messiah will come within 6,000 years of the creation of Adam, and the world will be destroyed 1,000 years later.
Why?
Remember I told you that?
Yes, but it doesn't make sense. If the Messiah is coming and they want to destroy the world, they're going to wait 1,000 years to do that?
This would put the beginning of the period of desolation in 2239 and the end of the period of desolation in 3239. So, mistake. 3239, 1,000 years of desolation. If you don't think this is all proper,
so people are going to suffer for 1,000 years?
That's what it says. Period of desolation. And remember, there's an old prediction in the Nevi'im, in the book of prophets, about what? The dry bones. The dry bones rising. So, ladies and gentlemen, I've got really good news for you. This is really good. The end is near. Why do I say that? Because our discussion is nearing the end. So I hope you enjoyed this. I try to make it somewhat comical, yet serious, historical, by giving figures, by maybe giving a little bit too much data, but it was all different, and it all had different reasons. So my own advice to myself and to you do whatever you can to get the most out of every day, because every day is precious. Every day is important. Every day we create memories. Let's not focus on the end. Let's focus on the future, about what tomorrow we will do to make it a better world for us, for you, and for everybody that you know. My name is Andy Greenberg, and
I'm Carol.
And we will see you after, many times before, but definitely after May, what did I say,
28th.
28th, definitely after May 28th, 2021, just a mere few months away. So don't worry, everything's going to be fine. We'll see you then. Bye-bye.